If there's absolutely one thing that you have to understand when it comes to business, it's that 80 to 90% done by somebody else is better than you doing 100% of the work in your business. And I'm not even gonna front, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. I 100% stole this concept from Dan Martell. Those of you that have been following the channel for a while know that I just read his book about probably 3 or 4 months ago called Buy Back Your Time. And I'm not the type of person, I don't enjoy reading books. Like, I read books, listen to podcasts, trying to find little nuggets of information to take my business to the next level. And for those of you that are new to me, welcome. My name is Griffin Thomas. I actually own a pest control company specifically in the Dallas, Texas area, Preferred Pest Management. We've been in business for about 5 years now, and on my channel overall, I just document my entire entrepreneurial journey. I've been documenting it here on YouTube for about 10 years now. We have close to 1,000 videos on this channel, and I just document, like I said, everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. As you can tell, 2 out of 3 of those are bad, but the goal of bringing the bad to you guys directly is so you all can avoid the many years and many dollars that I have spent just obtaining this information on my own. So if any of that interests you, of course, feel free to subscribe, join our Facebook and Discord communities, all that good stuff. It's all free, of course. But like I mentioned, you guys know I read that book about 3 or 4 months ago now. It was early in the year. You know, when I first started the year, I wanted to read at least 1 book a week was my goal. And we read that book towards the end of January. And a lot of you guys know, of course, I've been a one-man show, or I should say I was a one-man show for, you know, the first 4 years essentially in business. I hired an employee for about 3-4 weeks. That didn't work out, but something about the information in that book just flipped a switch in my head. I went from, you know, just trying to conserve and, you know, oh, no one's gonna do it like me, no one's gonna do it. And don't get me wrong, like, I knew to get to where I wanted my business to go, I was gonna have to hire people. But I was like so focused on like trying to dial in the process of like, you know, I want to be able to literally copy and paste myself. I want to get all these SOPs in place. And at the end of the day, guys, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try to create like just this thick SOP binder and video by video, just tutorial of every customer, this and that and the other, no one is going to know your business like you. But at the same time, the only way for anybody to learn is to be thrown into the fire. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously you don't want to literally throw them into the fire and just say good luck. Like, obviously you need to coach them through all these little nuances of your business. But out of all the valuable information that I took out of that book, the one quote that stuck with me was when Dan Martell said, look, 80% done by somebody else is better than 100% done by you. And a lot of people can misconstrue what that actually means. It doesn't mean that 80% of the effort is as good as 100% effort. That's not what it's saying at all. What it's saying is like, look, you hire somebody, you're obviously not going to expect them to do 100% of what you do. Gary Vee talks about this a lot. Like, nobody is going to care about your business like you care about their business, and it's naive for you to expect anybody to. With that being said, like we said, we still want at least close to as 100% of the effort as possible. But even if they're giving you 110% effort, they're not going to have 100% of the knowledge that you spent years, or in some cases decades, getting. But after hiring my first 2 official, what I would consider official employees, they've been employed with us for what, 1 to 2 months, and the other one going on like 4 months now. It's unlocked like this just entire new level of me as like a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to refer to yourself as, where truly for the first time I can actually talk about the fact that like I see what people mean now when they say like there's such a huge difference between working on the business versus working in the business. Like, don't get me wrong, like there are certain days where like I sit there and I think about the fact that, for example, I had to go up to the Midwest for a family event that I'd known about for a while, and had I not been working the past 3, 4, 5 years, I would have been making no money outside of whatever, you know, monthly income that we have coming in from just auto payments from people. But no sales would have been made, no customer service for the most part would have been done. Just everything essentially would have been on standstill in my business. But since my technician, you know, has had like 2 or 3 months with me, and obviously has like 5 years of experience as well, and then my admin, you know, administrative assistant, you know, she's also been with us for about a month or so leading up to this trip. With them 2 together as a team, I knew that I was leaving the business in good hands. And of course, I was still checking in with them throughout the way. This is where messaging platforms like Slack can really help out your business as well as you continue to grow. I'll talk about that more in future videos. But yes, you have that aspect over here where it's like, wow, like not only were we making our usual money on the business, but customer service was getting taken care of. We were even getting a review here and there while I was gone. And we were selling stuff while I was gone. Like, all this stuff would not have taken place if I was on vacation just 6 to 12 months ago. So that aspect in and of itself is pretty badass. But on the more important note, we have more time now more than ever to just dive in way more deep than I ever have in my business, in terms of marketing, in terms of our website SEO, in terms of just, starting to figure out what groups I want to get into to network with people, because I've unlocked upwards of 5, at the minimum 5, upwards to even 10 hours a day of my day, just from not being out in the field, not doing the pre-text, not doing the accounting. I still do a good portion of the accounting, but I train my administrative assistant on how to do a lot of that stuff. That way, occasionally she has to send me a picture and, hey, was this gas or was this a meal, whatever the case may be. But in terms of most of the accounting and bookkeeping now, I'm more hands off. Now, to wrap all this back together, in terms of the making money without quote unquote working, being off and, having the time to be able to actually go and grow the business, how does this all wrap into the whole idea of 80% being done by somebody else is better than 100% all done by you? In short, like I said, any of you that have been following the channel for a while know that I haven't been bragging a lot lately. Like, let's be real, you have to go back about 2 years for me to have any video uploads about, how I grew my pest control business from 0 to 6 figures in my first year. Like, that was a very big accomplishment to me early on in my entrepreneurial journey. But I'd be completely lying to you guys if I would say that, like, I'm proud of where we're at today, because there's no reason for us to not be at 7 figures already. But I had to learn so much of this information on my own. I was in what I would consider no man's land for probably a couple of years. Like, I'm not in a bunch of like big networks. I don't have the money to pay to get in all these conferences and all the stuff that, the quote unquote gurus push. So all I had was YouTube, the internet, and now thankfully like ChatGPT, Gemini, just literally have to go in and just spend hours and hours and hours just constantly researching every single day. And then of course fighting your own self-doubt and your own limiting beliefs more than anything, which of course we talk about on this channel frequently. But at the end of the day, do I think I could have ever have even gotten to where we're now getting only just a couple months in? Like, I'm seeing our sales forecast just, it's not going just straight up or anything, but compared to what it's been the last couple years where we're just doing this slow and steady, like, yeah, we're climbing, but we're only climbing like maybe a couple $10,000 a year. Now we're jumping like couple $10,000 a month in terms of our recurring year-over-year sales forecast. Would that have been possible if it was just 100% me versus allowing say 80-90% from this guy over here and 70 to 80% from this woman over here helping us out, while by the way still having my 110% in over here? Like, what is more at the end of the day? 110, 150% done by yourself, or you got 80-90% over here, 70-80% over here, 110% still right here? Like, no shit, what's gonna get more done and more accomplished for your business and at a higher level? I can't tell you guys, we have had customers who have traditionally been kind of what I would consider pain in the ass customers, who are starting to compliment the fact that, like, one, obviously like, oh yeah, good for you, awesome. Of course there's some of those smart remarks about boss man, office man, this and that too, but we're getting a lot of them that are like, wow, like, thanks for like the major heads up, because usually I would not send my text messages out until like 5 to 9 p.m. the night before a service, because of course I didn't want to finalize that schedule too early and then a call come in, like some emergency call where we need to go out there like next morning or anything like that. So I tried to hold off as long as humanly possible to send out my pre-notification text messages. Now I have my administrative assistant send those text messages out usually no later than about 1 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon the day before. And then like for Mondays, or say in this case Tuesday, because this was Memorial Day weekend this past weekend, they received their notifications Friday afternoon. So they had like a 3 to 4 day heads up, which has like never been done in the history of my company. And I'm having clients like show appreciation for that. Like, they're like, awesome, I appreciate it. We're starting to get on top of having notes put in customers' accounts that, like, this customer wants it done like this customer wants a 30-minute heads up. Like, there's still a lot of fine tuning going on, but as we go month after month after month, a lot of that is really just getting dialed in. So it's not just making a better experience for me as the owner, so much less stress to a degree. There is other stress too that I'll talk about in future videos, but a lot less stress for me and a much better experience for the customer overall. So how can you argue with that? But that's pretty much it for this video. I didn't want to make it too long. It got a little bit longer actually than I expected. I wanted it to only be like 4 or 5 minutes for y'all today, a quick one, but hopefully you guys did take some type of information from it. If you did, do me a favor and smash the thumbs up button. And if you're listening on audio, of course, do me a favor and rate the show, be it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever the case may be. And regardless if you're listening on audio or watching on YouTube, all of our helpful links like to our Facebook, Discord group, all that good stuff should be down in the description box down below or in my link tree, which is also down below. For those of you on YouTube, I'll leave some videos, I believe either on this side, I always forget which side it's on, but you'll see it here in just a second.